Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to the Week 5 FBBT for the BFFL by This Guy Thrills. Thank you. Glad to be here this week. Took a week off last week, as I mentioned, doing some manual labor. As we'll see eventually at some point in time when people attend the GM meetings at the house. Redone the back Porchington area. Looks about 60% done right now. Still in the midst of knocking some things out, but definitely an improvement. And as you can see behind me, there's a whole lot of debris right there that came down. We got a whole lot more to come. But there's a new setup right there. You know, that's what the wifey likes. Jaycock, pool looking great. Ready for a swim. Yard looking great. Summer is officially here. Braves are in town. Currently getting stomped. Curb stomped, if you will, by Seth Rollins, a.k.a. the Boston Red Sox tonight. 6-0 in the second. Yowie wowie in that one. Ooch. Like I said, Jaycock, thank you for covering last week. Did a great job, man. Love the rundowns of every team. Kept it very consistent, very concise, and definitely had me chuckling right there. And, wow. 60% of the matches in Week 4 came down to that final game. So that was pretty crazy. Everything was pretty tight. We know Just Here matchup was not that tight, but every other matchup hung it pretty tight right there up until the end. It was pretty amazing to see that happen, and wish Cody Bellinger had gone 0 for 3 and Max Muncy had been the one who gone 3 for 3 to avoid another tie for this guy. But anyways, enough about last week. Let's move on to this week. Week 5. We've got 5 great matchups. No matchups really to feature a total crap team versus a total crap team, or a super all-star versus super all-star, as we've seen in a couple weeks past, or the offers and our non-lossers right there. So let's just start in the middle, and let's start with Just Here versus Detective Steve. Now, Just Here, looking at your O, running down the list of players, man, I see underperformance and sadness across the board. I mean, from top to bottom, it's just like, right now, those guys are not really MLB quality fantasy players, and you're going to definitely need to upgrade at some point in time there. But you got to feel good about the pitching. Stav always bringing the pitching right there. And Whitlock, I think, is going to be the key to your season. If he can stay in the rotation for Boston. If you can stay in the rotation for Boston right there, I really foresee the team being better for Savdog in general right here. I think this week you've got a good week for your offense. As bad as I mentioned it earlier, I think this week can be really good based upon the teams that your offensive players are going against. I saw some Reds matchups in there. Anytime you see Cincinnati on the matchup radar, you're smiling to yourself. And I think a couple of players are also in Colorado, so got to be big positives right there for you. I foresee good things coming from your offense this week. Pitching, we know that's coming. Sub 3.5 ERA, and definitely about 60 innings pitched. Detective Steve, on the other hand, locked up a tie due to a great, better than shit weekend that your opponent had right there, Steve. So you played better in the weekend than he did, but still I don't think you would have been happy with what your team did on Saturday and Sunday. But it was definitely good enough to not lose last week. Something that has been lost, though, is Rhys Hoskins' ability to hit the baseball. He's being benched now in doubleheader games. He should be getting playing time. He was a player that I was eyeing in the draft thinking, this guy's going to be good this year. Everybody's predicting, breakout season. Well, he's breaking out, but he's just breaking the bottom glass boat right there. So that's not what you're really looking for on your team. Nasty little staff, though, is what you want on your team, and that's what you have. Just young guns. Nobody older than 28 pitching for you, I don't think. I think that might have been your cutoff right there. And I'm gonna stop with the gas hate. I thought going to Toronto was going to be a terrible idea, really backfire on him. And at this point in time, he has proven that he's changed. He is not Baltimore Oriole Kevin Gascon anymore. He is Cy Young Kevin Gausman. All right, put some spect on his name. And speaking of spect, I'm gonna put some respect on your name this week and predict you to defeat Just Here. So sorry, Timmy Savdog, but I'm predicting D-Harb to get the dub, go to 2-2-1, while Just Here going to 1-4, which will put him just with one win above the next team we're going to discuss here. And that would be Anthony Matthews' team right there. Yamasite, or I believe that's what he's changed his name to this week from Never Drafting Sober Again. Anthony, there's a reason you're on 4, man. You're dead last in the ranks, the stats overall for teams. When you go to your team stat, when you go to team stats and compare, you're seeing your team towards the bottom of 5 of those 7 categories. Anytime that happens, you got no chance. I mean, no, it is what it is. You're 4 of 7 in dead last. All right, go check that, fact check me. But last time I was there, he was dead last in 4 of those 7s. Claims to be trade ready wise, wants to shake some things up. That has not happened. That we have not seen any trade offers come out. We have seen some Dallas Mavericks hype. That's been nice. I kind of appreciate Luka and crew. Although I can never admit that I'd rather have Luka than Trey for at least another 365 days. We'll see how it goes next year. But not yet. Not yet. All right, Trey's still gotten further in the playoffs in his career than Luka has. Just know. And he's got to win this round. And I was just got to get a big old... Hold on. Is that a heart? There we go. I'm going to give a big old heart right there to you for going off of that Marcus Semien-based rant the other day. Oh, my God, I was dying. He is stealing some fucking money from the Texas Rangers. I think that going up against Joe Marshall, a.k.a. Rymar, a.k.a. Man at the Game, getting a couple Johnny Smoltz bobbleheads, getting a couple quality time in with the Pops. Always love that. He is going to be stealing a victory this week. I don't even have to talk about his stats to know that he's going to beat you this week, Anthony. He leads the league in home runs, total bases. And as I said, that Taylor Ward is taking a bow somewhere out in Anaheim area right now. As has Pistol Pete, Polar Bear, Alonso, Florida Gator right there, turning back the clock to 2019 with his home runs, batting higher than 230. He's almost up to 290 right now, guys. If Pete Alonso's batting 290 and cranking dingers and an OPS over 900, give him the MVP now. The Mets are running away with the division. Chalk it up, guarantee it. Pete Alonso does that. Mets, NL East winners, Braves looking for a wild card. Joe Marshall, your team is also kind of well-rounded. Polar Bear is just the model for the rest of your team. You've got power, you've got speed, you've got average. You're looking pretty solid right now, Rymart. And even owning 4 pitchers that shouldn't sniff ownership in fantasy baseball, there's 4 of them. If you look at Rymart's team, you could probably pinpoint the four pitchers he has that have no need to be on a fantasy baseball roster right now. Just in my perspective. But Joe, as I said, you're winning. You're beating Ant. He's going to 0-5. You're going to 4-1, ascending up that leaderboard in the BFFL. We are those motherfuckers league rankings. Well, let's move on to a matchup that already features the highest ranking team in our BFFL rankings. Mr. Sprinkles, Jaycock, sitting at 3-0-1, still undefeated, and he needs to send some thank you cards to those players in Milwaukee because Willie Adames is playing phenomenal. At least those 2 games really boosted his stats. He's playing phenomenal. Christian Yelich, oh man, is he finally healthy? Is his back, shoulder, leg, knee, ankle, rib, hip, quad, neck, whatever it is this week, is he finally healed up and ready to play at the MVP levels that we've seen? I certainly hope not, seeing as how I don't own him, but for Jaycock's sake, I hope it is. And is it crazy looking at his team that Thor is the elder statesman? Look at his rotation, and it's just young guys. Young. Something we see with him and Detective Steve. Lots of young dudes on their rotations, which can be good, which can be bad. We all know how that game plays out. And something we're also hoping to see play out for Mr. Sprinkles is Eloy Jimenez come back. At least that's what he'd like to see. When he returns, that's a really good-looking team. Eloy doesn't have to come back and hit 300 and jack 45 home runs. Just come back, hit 270, hit 260, be better than league average, and knock us play some good offense. Give us some more runs to help out Luis Robert and crew. Rob Manfred, on the other hand, he knows about hitting some home runs. He knows about getting some total bases because that's what he did this week. Finally cracking the win column. There you go, Robbie Rob. Getting those 8 home runs really helped out. Really crushed B Green from Tuesday on. I thought it was just a joke when he said 8 home runs, and then I double took for myself, and my jaw dropped. Could not believe it. I've never seen 8 home runs hit by one team. And I know we've added 2 roster spots, but damn, even when Josh Hamilton was going off for 4 home runs in a game, we still weren't seeing 8 home runs by a total team. Rob, starting to think that San Diego, something might be in the water out there. Because, I mean, you've got two San Diego Padres players, Manny Machado and Eric Hosmer. Like, I can believe Manny Machado putting up these numbers. Eric Hosmer, come on now. Have you guys seen that soccer thing? People taking asthma inhalers, claiming to have asthma so that way they can run faster and play longer. I think San Diego's trying to pull something like that. Everybody's got a medical condition now out there. Hey, play by any means to beat the Dodgers. That's what I always say. And something I also have to say is Nestor Cortez might be the pickup of the year thus far. Might be the pickup of the year. I eyed him, and I eyed him. I know 6 other managers probably did too. And was like, I can't pull the trigger yet, I'm still going to bank on these scrubs that I'm going to cut in 2 weeks. Should have grabbed him. You grabbed him. But unfortunately, you're not grabbing the dub this week. Mr. Sprinkles is picking up that one. All right, moving on to our second to last matchup. We got Billy Baseball, Yokels out there versus 3-1 Alpha Academy. Seeing Alpha Academy lose this week just harkened me back to a Simpsons episode as a VH1 Behind the Music special. Was the dream really dead? Yes, the dream was dead. That's what I see with Alpha Academy right there. Charlie Blackmon turning back into a pumpkin. I see you owning 2, not 1, but 2 Detroit Tigers relief pitchers. The Tigers are terrible, man. Terrible. At least not good enough to own 2 relief pitchers, especially one of them was Michael Fulmer, and he strikes out like half a batter an inning. I just, Like, I got to shake my head at that one. But I don't shake my head sideways. I shake my head up and down in this one. Good job. Finally, now you're down just to 1 active catcher with 1 NA catcher. Perfectly acceptable when that backup catcher is Adley right there, being one of the top prospects in Major League Baseball. Yokels, on the other hand, thank you. I owe you a big thank you. Thank you for picking up Dansby Swanson. Since you picked him up, he's actually remembered how to hit a baseball. He had to get away from Jaycock. You had to pick him up, and we really appreciate that. Your team doesn't appreciate how hard it is to, or maybe they do appreciate how hard it is a better way of phrasing this, to hit the baseball because, woo, you got some lot of low averages on that team right now, even for 2022 standards. Going through that roster, it's just... not high batting average, but you got some other high qualities. But when you speak of high qualities, you got to speak about your staff of young guys right here. These 3 studs right here. Well, I guess you can't even say young in Garrett Cole's case, but Shane McClanahan and Alex Manoah up there in Toronto, those are 3 just power, hard pitchers that will do some work in these games. And we're just waiting for the next trade. Which one of those guys are going to trade you? I would be appreciative of one. I would gladly take one of those on my team if you want to trade somebody. I just look forward to seeing when your next trade is. This week I see you and B Green, though, trading fisticuffs back and forth up until about Sunday afternoon, at which point in time I foresee you pulling out the victory. I think that, like I said, B Green's team I thought was a little bit of a pumpkin right there. You know, Cinderella is hopping out right now. I hear a clock striking midnight. I got to say, Alpha Academy probably going to 3-2, might need to start making some moves. And last but not least, we're going to save the last matchup for the matchup that started off Monday, the trade that started off Monday. Trey Turner, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Chris Sale in exchange for Juan Soto, Jacob deGrom, and Mike Clevenger. Boom. Psh, craziness, right? Wasn't expecting it. Sent Cody an offer. He sent me one back. Then he sent a blockbuster. Then I sent one back. Then he sent me one that I agreed upon as long as he added this player and he added that player. And then bam, 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 I traded my favorite player in the MLB, young, badass Juan Soto. I guess non-Braves player at this point, Juan Soto. But got an exciting young player when he comes back in Fernando Tatis and Speed Demon Trey. So I'm happy about that. Cody Nobes picking up the best pure hitter in baseball in Juan Soto and getting soon-to-be dominant NL pitcher in Mike Clevenger and a healthy deGrom. deGrom and Sale kind of cancel out. It's a pretty quality trade right there, as Rywalk commented on as it was made. Now, let's talk about assholes first. And in this case, we're just going to single out this asshole, not the rest of you guys. If you just go win, tie, rest of the year, that equals a championship. So just if that's the game plan, I'm playing 4D chess right now, boys. Pathetic weekends have really cost this team, being 4-0, just crumbling on Saturdays and Sundays. You got to figure out something to fix that. The pitching staff, though, that's not something that needs to be fixed for the assholes. Surprising for a Thrill Zone staff that he actually has guys that are throwing strikes, but the real surprising part is they're not K per 9, says he ranks towards the bottom of Ks per 9 in the league this year, just like he does with stolen bases. Per the usual, Thrills team, no speed, had to acquire Trey Turner, help that out. But, as Thrills does, he's going to be right there towards the tops in home runs and total bases. So that's how the offense is kind of balancing out. That's why you're 2-0-2. Ghost, ever since I said, what a badass team, you've gone 0-2. So sorry about that one. Hopefully it continues to roll over this week. I would prefer to see that. But you were like, I'm lost 2 straight. What can I do? Let's shake this bitch up. And I'm not talking about just a little jerky jerk. I'm talking full-on jerky jerk right there as he's going at it. And that's probably what it looked like as well when Ronald Acuna Jr. was activated from the disabled list. Maybe even down when he got to see him in Jacksonville. George Kirby, just wow. Pickup. I'm slipping on my game because I didn't even know this guy existed until it was too late. And 4 guys had already tried to claim him, I'm sure. And that's just, something that Code Nobes is always on. He's going to catch you. If you fall asleep, he's going to catch you sleeping and snatch up those NA players. Overall, though, you got to say, might have a little health concerns down there after Walker Buehler looking at that rotation. Those guys have been known to have some shoulders, some elbows, some things. So Code Nobes might need to just be prepared for that, just like he needs to be prepared to not win this week. So I'm going to pick Thrills to not lose this week for my matchup. So this week we got Assholes winning, Joe winning, Sprinkles winning, Stevie winning, and Yokels winning in week 5. It's been a great week. Last week of fantasy baseball. We've already touched on it this morning in the general board, so you guys know what's up. Take it easy. Have a good night. Hug your loved ones. We'll talk to you later.